Hey, Dr. Deb here. What is the best test for measuring your hormones? Well, it's a tricky question because the answer is it depends. It depends on your age, it depends on your symptoms, it depends on which hormone we're talking about. So there are basically 3 different ways that we can measure hormones. We can do them in a blood test, we can do them in urine, and we can do them in saliva. And there's pros and cons for each one. So for example, cortisol, which is your stress hormone, it changes over the day. It's supposed to be highest in the morning, it's supposed to be lowest at night. So if we did it in a blood test and we just sent you over to the lab first thing in the morning to get your blood work done, we would miss that circadian pattern. So a saliva test that you can do multiple times at home over 24 hours, or a urine test that you collect multiple times over 24 hours is a much better choice for measuring cortisol. For estrogen and for testosterone, there's not a lot in your saliva. It's in your saliva, it can be measured, but it's technically tricky to measure estrogen and testosterone in saliva, but a blood test can do a pretty good job. For progesterone, it varies over the month. And so it's not really realistic to go to the lab a whole bunch of different days over the course of a month, but you can collect a saliva or a urine sample multiple days over the month in order to track your cycle, see if you're ovulating and follow it along. So there's a lot of different factors that go into which of these tests we might order. Some of them are likely to be covered by your health insurance. Many of them are not. You may live near a lab and it's easy to pop in and get your blood work done. You may live out in the country an hour and a half away from the nearest lab, and that would be really inconvenient. You might have a really dry mouth. It might be hard for you to collect a saliva sample. So a lot of different things go into which test we choose. What I would also say is each practitioner has preferences for what they're most used to using, why they would choose one test over another. So the best advice that I can give you is if you're going to your regular doctor, your gynecologist, your family doctor, the only thing that they're really gonna offer you is a blood test, and that's okay. If you're going to a provider who specializes in bioidentical hormones, they may prefer a urine test or a saliva test. That's okay too. Let them use the test method that they are the most experienced with, the most comfortable with, because the interpretation of the test is really the most important.